Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing this evening? I'm wearing a new hat tonight and I don't know what I think of it. It is 4:02 a.m. and I just got up like a half an hour ago. What do you guys think of this hat? I mean, I think the hat is cute. It's just kind of like rounded on my head. You know, the thing is this, is that, and this is the story of all of my hats. Alex always laughs about this, is that this is supposed to be like a flat bill hat, you know? So you're supposed to wear it like, I'm sure, like this. But I don't wear my hats flat billed. I like round the bill a little bit. Well, usually more than that. My other hat is in the back, but oh well, we'll just deal with this tonight. So like, I guess maybe it's supposed to be, I should be wearing it as a flat bill hat. I just don't like it like that. But anyway, it doesn't matter. I had it like really curved like that earlier and it didn't look right. Now I understand why, looking at it on camera. I kept on looking at it in the mirror and I was like, something just does not feel right about this hat. And because I wore it to my meeting and I said, Alex, I said, does this hat look stupid? He goes, no. And I was like, what is it? I can't figure it because it's like rounded on the sides. It's because it's supposed to be flat built. And you can't really see this, but it comes like, it's more like a trucker hat. And so I always buy the trucker hat types of hats. I'm gonna go this way. Because that way I can like, you know, curve the bill. And I actually have some like trucker hats. Where's my other hat? My other hat is back here too. My cup, my scarf. I brought it with me because I was gonna change at the meeting if I didn't like this hat. You guys are like, Peter, it doesn't matter. No, you're right, it really doesn't matter. But I thought it was back there. Oh, I can see it, it is back there. Here it is. See, I mean, this is the same, and then I curve the bill. But this one is almost like meant to be more curved. You can tell, because it's like, yeah, I feel better about that. Because I know you guys are so concerned about my hair and how my hair looks. Before I was leaving, I was putting my bill together to mail to my HOA because we can either pay it online, which, I mean, I pay all the bills online, right? But you can either pay it online or you can mail it in. But if you pay it online, it's you get a $20 like charge fee for paying it online, which I think is ridiculous. $20, you know? Our HOA fees are so high anyway. People don't believe me. I was talking to Caroline about that the other day. And, because we were talking about like HOA fees in Florida. And she was like, well, they'll be higher, but they wouldn't be, they're gonna be a lot higher than here, you know? And she was like, well, what are your fees here? And I said, $431 a month. And she goes, your HOA fees are $431 a month. And I said, Caroline, I've told you this before. She was like, you have some of the highest HOA fees in Indianapolis. I said, I know, that's what people keep on telling us. And what's so crazy about it is, when my mom lived there, like when she was alive, it was like, I remember her complaining when it went over $100. And that would have been like right before she passed away. Because she was like, I can't believe it's going over $100. And all this kind of stuff. And she was like, you know, and they were like changing things. And she's like, I just can't believe that, you know, it's, that it's going to be over $100. And, you know, that was in what, 2007, 2008. And now we're at 431. Although I will say, I think we haven't changed for 2 years. It hasn't gone up. But the other thing is, yes, it's extremely expensive, but we have like a beautiful neighborhood. I mean, they really take care of the pool. They really take care, I mean, the landscaping outside, except for like we're responsible for like the immediate area around our condos, like our walkway in the backyard, like the back around the patio. But like as far as like the yard, they mow it like once a week in the spring and summer and the fall and all that kind of stuff. I mean, if there's any, like, the roads are perfect in the neighborhood. The snow removal is not great because they wait till the very last minute. But you know, they rake all the leaves. There's tennis courts. It's just, you know, they replace trees constantly so that there's a lot of mature trees in our neighborhood. Like when we had a tree in our yard that was hit by lightning. Thank God it didn't hit the condo. It literally sliced in half, and like one half went like right down our walkway, and the other half kind of like fell really slowly and hit like our neighbor Laura's, the top of her garage roof. It could have been a disaster. No. And the other half like went down like into kind of into the street. It could have been a disaster. I mean, it was a huge tree, and so they had it removed, and then like whenever something like that happens, they replace it, but it's still expensive. You know, it's gated in there, which is nice. It's part of it, and I mean, there's a lot of perks that go along with it, but I think like the majority of what that goes towards is like the landscaping inside the community. Like we're on 2 lakes, so it goes to like stocking the lakes. They stock them with fish so that I guess people can fish in there. I don't know, but you know, stocking with fish, keeping the lakes really clean. The lakes are super clean. Keeping the lakes like really nice. You know, there's fountains in the lake, keeping the fountains working. So honest to God, like the neighborhood looks just as pretty or probably prettier than it did 5 or 10 years ago. Like Tanya drives through there and she's like, I just can't believe she's like, your neighborhood is gorgeous. She's like, I mean, there's weeping willow trees. It's beautiful in there. So that's a perk of it. I just think that $431 is so expensive. So to add $20 to that, I'm like, no, I'm not paying $20 extra on that fee. But when I was putting that together, I was like in the drawer and I found this lip balm. I don't know if I used this last Christmas or this is from 2 Christmases ago, but it's this Hemp's lip balm. Do you guys remember I used to use this? I can't. It's something mint. This one. But it's like a Christmas one. It's like apple cider mint or something. I can't remember what it's called. I have to pull up my glasses to be able to see it. I forgot how much I love this Hemp's lip balm though. I love Hemp's products, period. I have this chai. What is on my hat? I have this like chai and I got it in the fall. It was like chai and apple. I think it was apple cider and chai lotion, and I still have it and I still use it. I love the smell of it. I have another one that's green tea of the Hemp's. I love the summer Hemp's lotions that they have that have like you know, aloe vera and stuff in it. I just love their products. I think their products are fantastic. I'm actually thinking about starting to review some skincare products on my drama channel because I buy so much skincare. And I actually mentioned it in my video today, and I got a lot of really supportive comments from people saying that they would be interested in that. So I'm thinking about starting that. I may start that like maybe in May, like going into the summer. We'll see. Had a fantastic day today. Filmed a bunch of videos. Slept in. Oh, I listened to quite a bit of that book Sanitarium last night. It's good. It's really like you don't really know what's going on, and it's very scary. And this won't ruin it for you because this is literally at the beginning, of, like the very beginning of the book. So it's about these people that go to this hotel in Switzerland that used to be a sanitarium for tuberculosis, but it's out in like the middle of nowhere in the mountains, and the only way to get there is from this road that like clings to the side of the mountain. And the way that she describes it, like them going out there, is so terrifying. So it's like already you feel isolated out in the middle of nowhere. And then all of this like crazy stuff happens. It's very scary. But not scary. It reminds me of some movie I've seen before. Not scary and like, I don't really know how to explain it. It's just, and it kind of flashes back and forth that you don't know if it's like time flashbacks, like if it's going between like currently happening and like a long time ago, or if it is happening like, you know, whatever. But when I get done vlogging tonight, I'm going to listen to like a half an hour, of it. Oh, People Are People by Depeche Mode. Do you know what's funny is this channel, this rock 33 First Wave that I've been listening to a lot lately, they play a lot of Erasure and Depeche Mode, which is so funny because whenever I hear the songs, I'm like, this reminds me of being in high school. But I was like not a huge Erasure or Depeche Mode fan, like ever. Like even to this day, I'm like, you know, like when I hear the songs, I was gonna say Personal Jesus. Was that Personal Jesus? Was that Depeche Mode? I think it was. But anyways, like I'm the Personal Jesus. That was Depeche Mode, wasn't it? But anyway, whenever I hear their music, I'm like, oh, this reminds me of my teenage years. But it was really my friends that loved them. Like those were two bands that I wasn't really like that down with. And it's so funny when I look at like the bands that I loved and what like my closest friends liked, because we all liked kind of the same genre of music, but we were very different in our I changed laundry detergent and my jeans are kind of itching me, and I'm wondering if it's from the laundry detergent. They were itching me earlier too. We usually use Gain, and tonight I used what is it, Tide, those pods, and they're kind of like, my jeans are kind of itching me, and I'm wondering if it's from that. Plus I was like rushing like crazy tonight to like, I was like, I'm taking a shower before I leave the house to go to the meeting, and so I was like rushing, and I was trying to get videos up, and then I was literally like, my drama video was at 97%, and it just stayed stuck there for like 10 or 15 minutes. It wouldn't move forward, and I was like uploading it on my phone, and finally I decided to walk out. I was like, I can't wait any longer, because I had to pick up Tanya, and then we had to go pick up our friend, and then we had to get to the meeting. And I was like, I don't want to be super late, right? And so I was like, I just have to leave. And so when I leave, like, yeah, I can upload a video on my phone. Like, even if I was driving, I could do it, like, right? Like, even if I was moving. But it goes, like, it immediately stops going from, like, you know, fast to then it's like 4-hour upload. And so it's just like, I just deleted the upload and started uploading to my computer, which means I couldn't get the video up until after I came home tonight, which is fine. But I was like rushing to take a shower and stuff like that. And so I was kind of just like throwing on lotion, because I'm so weird about like, I lotion every single day, like head to toe, like after, you know, every shower and then throughout the day. And I think lotion and water, even though my weight has so fluctuated up and down and up and down and up and down over the course of, you know, 40 years, I think really lotion and water, because I started lotioning when I was like late junior high or high school. It was something like my mom really, like she, you know, she would always, like as far as like hygiene things, my mom was always really about like lotion, using lotion, and I can remember she would just like, you know, especially like going to the pool, because my mom liked to go to the pool a lot, and she would come home and she always used like homemade aloe vera or aloe vera lotion. And my mom always was somebody that like lotion from, you know, head to toe, and she used a lot of like creams on her face before she would go to bed. My mom, towards the end of her life, true story, she put Vaseline on her face. And I was like, Mom, I cannot believe you put Vaseline on your face. And she's like, she had like, both of my parents, it's just a complete luck in genetics, had like literally, like neither one of my parents had acne in high school. And I had no acne in high school. But my mom, I remember her like washing her face with Pond's and then putting a lot of lotion on, and she would like get out of the shower, you know, and she would always like lotion from head to toe, and then she would put like baby powder all over, you know, and stuff, and she would always just say, I believe in that. She washed her face. My mom washed her face with bar soap her entire life. She swore by it. And honestly, until I got on YouTube and people started saying stuff to me about it, I always washed my face with bar soap too, because that's what my mom said to do, you know? And so it worked, and I never had acne in high school, and my skin was always pretty good quality. But recently, because of getting on YouTube, and I would say the last 5 years, well, really before that, I really enjoyed like going and like buying certain kinds of skincare and like doing, you know, face masks and stuff like that. So I really started investing more money in skincare, but I have to be, to this day, I have to be really careful about it. Like if I do a lot to my face, like if I'm doing a lot of face scrubs and face washes and different kinds of face lotion and things like that, like my face, it won't break out, but it gets kind of red and splotchy. Like I have to be really careful about it. It's like the less I do to my face, the better it is. But I will say that I swear by lotion, I swear by Aveeno lotion. I just use Aveeno lotion, and I lotion from head to toe every day. Every shower and throughout the day. And I drink a lot of water. Tons of water. And I think that's why, honest to God, I think, let's just knock wood, but I think that's why I haven't had like, I have like one stretch mark that's like this big on my side. I think it's this side over here. But I have friends of mine, and I also just think it's luck, you know, and genes. What is going on? I have like this, it's like a hair or something right here that's driving me crazy. I have friends of mine, especially friends of mine that have gone through pregnancies, that I feel so bad for. Like, they have literally the most horrific stretch marks. Tanya and I were talking about it the other night, because Tanya's somebody that, like, she doesn't have any stretch marks either. And why is this light not turning? Every once in a while, having a beard, I'll have like one hair that like turns the other way, and it's like totally stuck. This light is not turning here. I don't know why. So I'm gonna have to go down here. It keeps on like, if you ever sit at a light that does that, it goes like in a whole rotation, but it like never turns. Tony doesn't have any stretch marks either. And we were talking about that. And I mean, most people that I know have some stretch marks, you know? And, but yeah, like I was saying, like my friends that have been pregnant, like, I have friends of mine that literally will not wear bathing suits to the pool. I can't believe it now. I did this and the light changes. Because they're so self-conscious of their stretch marks, you know? It's interesting when you talk about like what things you're self-conscious of. And like Alex did this, Dollar Shave Club reached out to him. He gets like all of these kind of like influencer things. And Dollar Shave Club reached out to him to do this like photo thing. And he had to come up with like, write something about what he's insecure about, right? And it was funny because this was like right on the heels of he and I sitting and talking about it. Because he came home one day from work and he was like saying that he had been like losing hair in the shower. And I said, well, what's going on? And he was like, I don't know. He was like, I mean, and Alex has like a healthy head of hair. And I was like, is it like clumps or a lot? Because that's concerning, you know? And he was like, no. He was like, it's just a little bit. But he's like, you know, I never have lost hair like that. And so he like, then he went to his hairstylist and, you know, talked to his hairstylist. And she's like, you're not, like, I don't see any hair loss at all. And so he scheduled a dermatological appointment because he was like, really worried about it. And I was like, I mean, I know stress like causes hair loss, but like he's not stressed about anything right now. And so he's like, that's what I understand. It's like, I'm not stressed about anything. His eating habits haven't really changed except for that he's been eating healthier and he's been working out a lot, you know? And so anyway, we were talking about like physical insecurities, you know, and you know, listen, I did a whole video on my Peter Does Stuff channel today about my weight, you know, and I was talking about my chin because I had filmed a video yesterday where I was walking in the woods, and then I filmed it from down here, and so the whole thing was like looking up, and I was like, so I had this, you know, whole kind of moment of clarity, honestly. I feel like I have a lot of them, and then I never like snag onto them or something, but anyway. So anyway, he and I had this fantastic conversation, you know, just about insecurities and allowing them to hold us back, and, you know, living our best lives and things like that. It's hard, you know, it's hard. And I think each of us has a completely different insecurity. And what's so hard is, like, when you're talking to your friend about, like, what their insecurities are, like, let's just say if your friend has a completely different insecurity than you. I'm trying to think of something that, like, a friend of mine, well, a couple things, like, one, I've had friends of mine that have had a lot of freckles, that are very insecure about their freckles. I think freckles are adorable. I love freckles. I wish I had freckles. In fact, I wanted to buy some of that stuff called Speck, and I wanted to try it on my face just to see what it would look like. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Is that what it's called? It's like freckles. You can put them on like makeup for your, you know. What is that called? Do you guys know what I'm talking about? I'm gonna pull in here because I want to look and see what this stuff is called. A lot of the makeup artists use it, and I think you just get it at Sephora or Ulta or something like that. It literally almost looks like mascara, and then you like just dot your face with it, and you kind of like rub it in. It's like concealer. A lot of the kids use it, but I mean, so like I love freckles, you know. I have friends of mine that are insecure about being too thin, which I know we think is crazy in our society, but like they've literally been made fun of for their whole lives. Like, why don't you eat a cheeseburger? Or why don't you eat a pizza? Like, you're so thin. Like, and they're made fun of it, right? And so they have the same insecurities as, you know, everybody else. And I was like, where's my phone? You guys, it is allergy season in Indiana. I even like have allergy medicine in my fanny pack. Do you guys know what that stuff is called? Freckle makeup. It's called Freck. Where do you get it? Freck Beauty, $22. So anyway, if you guys, you know what I'm talking about, I think that stuff is cool. But anyway, and then my mom was super, super insecure her whole life about her breast size. Super insecure. And, you know, I think about my mom, how it really held her back in her life. You know, my mom, when she was in junior high, my mom was somebody that, like, she was, like, from a very, like, I think she got, like, when she started, like, growing breasts, she, like, it was quick. And so, she was very, very big-breasted. And, my mom's stepdad caught boys, like, looking in my mom's window at her changing. And he called the police. And when the police came, they questioned my mom. Now imagine, this is, you know, when she was, my mom was born in 43, so this would have been 53, 57 to 58, 59, 57 probably. The police, when they came, they asked my mom, no, I mean, the policeman had the boys that were looking, I think it was 2 boys, who were looking in my mom's window. At the time, she was, I think, in 8th grade. 7th or 8th grade, 8th grade. And he had, you know, my mom's stepdad had caught these guys, And so was, standing there when the police came with these two guys, and the policeman, like, let the guys go and questioned my mom and said, are you doing things to entice them at school? Like, are you wearing tight sweaters? Are you flirting with these boys so that, and that's stuck in my head my mom's entire life. Like, that was like a consistent theme that we would talk about. Like, my mom and we talked about everything. There was, like, no holds barred when it came to our conversations. And there was nothing that we, like, didn't talk about. I mean, we were never maybe, like, graphically, explicit about things, but, I can remember my mom talking to me about, not when I was 10, but, like, when I was when I was 25 or 30, she would say, like, you never lose your lustful seductive feeling as you get older. So then all of a sudden you get older and you live in this world where it's like, how do I fit in this world? The world sees me as this older person, but inside, I feel like, I actually thought about this recently because I was watching that TED Talks with that woman, and she said an 80-year-old woman asked her, when does sex have to stop? And she said to her, sex never has to stop, no matter what age you are. It depends on how well you take care of your body, how well you take care of your physical being, and things like that, your emotional being. And I thought about that, that I don't think we really talk about that as much as we age, that we still have a lot of those feelings inside that we had, And I remember talking to my mom about that, and but this whole situation with her breast, she, like, held on to, like, her entire life. She held on to what that policeman said. And so if a man was looking at her, she felt like she was doing something to cause that. And and she was never comfortable with people looking at her. So the majority of my life, my mom wore clothes that, my mom had a cute figure, and she would downplay clothes that you could see her figure at all because she was so uncomfortable being seen from that point of view. Worked on this in therapy for years and years and years, and I remember vividly, like, when I was, like, in 9th grade, my mom had two friends that lived on our street when we were growing up, and they were, like, kind of, maybe I was younger than that. Maybe I was more like 7th grade, because that's when I would have really started getting into the fashion stuff, like 6th or 7th grade. And they would get together, like, for birthdays and for their holidays, and they would do, like, this, great luncheon kind of deal thing, and exchange presents. And I remember, no, I would have had to have been older, maybe like 9th grade. I remember that year for Christmas, this one woman, because one was, like, to this day, she's a very attractive older woman, and was always very kind of, like, sexy and very concerned about her body image and things like that. The other woman was, like, style icon, and then my mom, who was just, was fun and, had, little bangs and blonde hair and all this kind of stuff. And she went to Christmas and they exchanged presents, and this one woman had bought my mom this sweater vest that had, like, apples and teddy bears on it. It was like a brown sweater vest. What was I gonna say? I lie you not. I kid you not. It was like a brown sweater, like a beige sweater vest. And my mom was teaching, and so she was like, you can wear this in the school and stuff. And then it had, like, it was like these blocks, and it had, like, teddy bears and apples. They were, like, interchanging, something like that, It was, like, for something for my mom to wear to work, but except for that, my mom never dressed like that to work. My mom always wore, like, some long kind of, like, pink hippie skirt or green hippie skirt with, like, some cool belt and, like, a white blouse or something like that, It was, my mom never dressed like that. And I remember my mom came home and she was almost kind of like really put off. And she was like, is this how you see me? And I was like, what do you mean? And she was like, do you see me as somebody that, like, this is who I am? Like, these are the clothes that I wear? And this is why I think it's so important when I say, like, you know, dance to the beat of your own drum. Like, ask yourself, what does your soul speak of? Like, what is, you know, like, how does your soul dress? If you were going to look at your soul. I love that they have these little 2 chairs over here, and they have pillows on them that say lucky. Isn't that so cute? Because I want to get some chairs and get rid of this glider on our front porch is what I want to do. Actually, I saw the chairs I want at Costco. So they're these big, like, kind of like faux wicker chairs, and I think, and they like do that swinging. As I was imitating the swinging thing back and forth, the video stopped. But anyway, my mom was like, "Do you see me this way?" And I was like, "What do you mean, Mom?" And she was like, "Do you see me as like teddy bears and apples?" And I was like, "No." And she was like, "Well, why do you think they saw me this way?" Like, as if this, I mean, she was really offended. I mean, not that my mom ever wanted to be seen as some sex bomb or something like that. I mean, she just didn't. She didn't want to see as some bombshell, you know, and she didn't think of herself that way. But I think she wanted to think of herself as of the world, you know, and somebody that, like, could keep up. And not like, you know, she was like, I remember she said something to me later referencing that sweater when I was older, and she was like, I mean, she was like, I'm never gonna get a man in an apple and teddy bear sweater. She was like, no, man, I mean, that's not what a man wants in a woman. And, you know, my mom had all of these skewed ideas of like what men wanted and, you know, whatever. And if you haven't heard me talk about this, when my mom passed away, I found that she had written much of a book, not a novel, but a nonfiction book, and it's called Dear Mick, or Waiting on a Friend, and it's based on a Rolling Stones song, and they're letters to Mick Jagger, who she loved, Mick Jagger, and it's all about women and men, how different they're treated in society as they get older, and it's very interesting. It's all told, I thought about publishing it before, but I don't really know, like, I mean, it's kind of, to be honest with you now, it's a little dated, and I don't know that who would, like, relate to the, you know, it's not finished, and it's not my book, so I don't know. I thought about, you know, but it's interesting when you read the book, because her perception is not off at all of how men and women are so completely, it's such a double standard in our society. We can, and it, you know, and it's, I think that's even the easy way, is just to say it's a double standard. But, like, it's something that my mom thought about, like, her whole life in working situations. If she worked for a man, or if she worked with a man, you know, how she had to act with the man that she acted towards, you know, or whatever, you know, in every situation, going to get her car fixed, you know, going to get an oil change, you know, how they would treat her depending on what she wore or how she acted towards them. And it was this whole thing, you know, that here was my mom, who all her life she wanted to be respected for her intellect, and she wanted to be able to wear whatever she wanted to wear and not have people judge her for it, you know, and feel comfortable in whatever she wanted to be comfortable in. But my mom didn't even feel comfortable in wearing a V-neck t-shirt until she was sober at like 53 or 54, because she was always thinking that men were looking at her cleavage. And I remember the first time that I ever saw my mom, like, you know, like, well, around that time, she got sober, and it was a couple years later, and I said to her, like, you've been wearing like a lot of cleavage shirts or something like that. And she said, I do not care if men look at my cleavage anymore. If they want to look at my cleavage, that's on them, not on me. Like, I'm going to wear what I want to wear. And from them going out, my mom wore like black capri pants, a black short sleeve, you know, V-neck t-shirt, and like these little black like shoes that had a big, like, they were like sandals, but they had like a big heel on them. They were, because they were real comfortable, she said, and they gave her height because she was so short. My mom was 5 foot. And it was like the first fashion liberated I think my mom felt, because my mom loved clothes. She did, you know, and she loved fashion. But I think it was the first time she felt liberated in her life. And, you know, from then on, she'd always had kind of like this cutesy haircut, you know, before that. And she, like, cut her hair, you know, and it was kind of seductive. And it was like she'd tuck it behind one ear, and it was platinum, like almost white blonde. And she wore almost exclusively black, V-neck. You know, she had this one hot pink Ralph Lauren sweater that I bought her for Christmas one year. She loved that sweater. She loved hot pink. But that was it. And she big black sunglasses, and I think she kind of allowed herself, and I don't know, maybe, you know, we never really talked about the inventory aspect of it, but maybe it was that she had finally allowed herself to, you know, come out of these insecurities that she had for her whole life, you know. I think what's so sad about all of it as I near, you know, I don't want to say as I near the end of my life, but, you know, as I near the last quarter of my life or whatever, it's so weird to say that, but it's the truth, and, you know, but it feels weird to say that, you know. I remember saying to my mom one time, I had read this article, and it said that women have 5 stages of their life. There's birth, menstruation, childbirth, menopause, and death. And my mom looked at me and she said, so basically what you're telling me is I have death to look forward to. She was like, thanks a lot, you know. But no, it's weird as you get older because you realize, like, I'm kind of towards the end of my life. I mean, I'm 48, but, you know, like, I mean, friends of mine are having kids still. I'm talking about dying tomorrow, but you know what I mean? Like, you kind of start thinking about that stuff. But what's weird is you get to this point where, like, it was so weird in my meeting tonight. I was sitting in a group and somebody shared that they were going to turn 49, and then I was like, I'm going to be 49, and then, like, this other guy said he was going to turn 49, and then my friend is 49, and it's like 4 of us are in this group and we're all 49, you know. And when you start looking at people that are like the same age as you thank God, like, and like sometimes in my head I don't think that I look 49 years old. Like, not that I don't get hung up on that stuff anymore, but I don't think, like, I see somebody that's my age and I'm like, they look a lot older than I think I look. Or they look, and not in a bad way, but just like, I realize by looking at them that I look similar to that, is what I'm saying. But I don't realize, like, I was talking about, like, body dysmorphia in my video from my Peter Does Stuff channel. It's, like, kind of similar to that. It's like I see people, and, like, I see the white hair, and I see all the wrinkles and whatever, but, like, I don't connect it, you know? It's weird, but you know what's sad is, like, and this is the thing that just totally sucks about insecurity, and, you know, Alex and I were watching RuPaul's Drag Race tonight from Friday, and it's taken us so long to catch up with the show every week, but we were listening to Candy Muse and Got Mick talking about, like, their confidence and where it comes from, and that they just have this F it attitude, like, they don't care and they just want to enjoy life and be happy. And to get that at a young age is really quite amazing, honestly. Because I look at my life and I think I have fought all of these insecurities for 48 years. Constantly was worried about, and still am to some degree, you know, in all honesty, like, do I look too heavy? Does the shirt look stupid? You know, I was just talking about that stupid hat. Is this hat, who cares, you know? And it's like, all of that starts from a very young age. It really does. Like, lookism and all that stuff starts from a very young age, you know? And, you know, I can remember first being conscious of gaining weight, and it was when everybody else was kind of, like, getting taller, and because I can remember my parents were worried that I was going to be really short, that, and I am short for a guy. I'm like 5'10", 5'10 and a half, but I can remember that, I mean, I'm not short like 5'6", but I'm shorter than the average guy. You know, Alex, I think, is 6'1". You know, my dad is tall. My dad, he's like super tall. But my mom is 5 foot, and everybody on my mom's side of the family was real short. And so, like, my grandma was like 4'11", 4'10", or 4'11". And I think, like, they were really worried I wasn't going to grow. And I can remember being like 6th or 7th grade and 8th grade. You know, like when everybody's has like that height spurt, you know? And I hadn't had it. I wasn't growing at all. And the doctor made some comment about, like, I mean, he may not grow kind of thing. And I was just a pudgy kid, you know? Did you guys ever see that movie Shag back in the day? That one character that was named Pudge. I so related to her. But I just was, and I liked food, and I liked to eat, and I can remember the idea that was proposed by the doctor at that point, and I would have been at that point like 7th grade, I think, like early 7th grade, that maybe I needed to be put on like some kind of like, and this was like so, like, this was like kind of like a foreign concept at that time, and we weren't seeing kids that were being put on healthy like diets for like weight restriction. Not as much, if we did, I don't remember a lot of people talking about it. And it was like kind of like this proposed idea, and that my parents were like, no, we're not doing that. And so, you know what, 7th grade, I'm 12 years old, you know, for 36 years of my life, I've been struggling with this insecurity that was literally made like that. Like, came out of the blue like that, right? Like, one day I'm just sitting there enjoying my food and not really being that conscious of it. And the next moment, it's like, this is going to be one of the biggest issues of my entire life for 36 years. And you think about that, and that's really that's really sad, you know, that I have really allowed this thing to stand in the way of my happiness for 36 years. And at 48, to be honest with you, it's like, I'm not going to say the bad word, but it's like crap or get off the pot, Peter. You know, it's like either do the work or shut up about it. Like, it's ridiculous at this point, you know? And I know that. It's like, are you going to be 68 and complaining about how unhappy you are about your weight because you just, you know? And at this point also, it's like a major health issue, you know? So, but it's not just that insecurity, you know? I mean, I think, like, what was I watching? I was watching something tonight. Oh, they were talking about insecurities on that show, and Candy Muse was talking about, you know, her lisp that she's had. And I thought, well, damn, I relate to that, you know, not hating my voice my whole life. It's really just been the last couple years, and it's been, I have to tell you, it's really, really been almost completely because of this channel that I am good with my voice today, and that I hear my voice and I don't hate it. And I don't hate myself for my voice, because there was a time that I hated my voice. I hated myself because of my voice, because I felt like I was girly and twangy, and you sound like a whiny high school girl, and why do you, I mean, I don't know why I sound the way that I do. I just do, you know, and I can't change that. And then I started getting comments on my vlog. I would talk about it, and people would say, I love your voice is unique to you, or I fall asleep to your voice, which I still think is crazy, you know, but I started getting all these nice comments about my voice. And it wasn't and honestly, like, just to help other people that are trying to deal with their insecurities, it wasn't the comments that did it for me. And yes, that was nice. That was fantastic, right? And I am so thankful for that. It was that people's comments allowed me to look at my voice from a different perception, all right? You know, this perception that I had from a different point of view. This perception that I had in my voice was only one-sided. And then all of a sudden, I mean, I had never said to myself, well, your voice is soothing, or your voice is unique to you. I'd say, sure, it's unique to me, and that's, nobody wants my voice, and my voice is gross, and I can't handle it, you know? And I mean, you guys, I used to go to lengths to, like, I can remember back in the day, like, business calls and stuff. I'd always, like, lower my voice an octave and be like, this is Peter Monn. How can I help you? You know? And when I started talking, people would be like, your voice just changed. I mean, they clued into it like that, you know? And I wasn't even aware sometimes that I did it. You know, like, I can't even really do it that well today, but, like, but I honestly can say, and that is directly from YouTube, which it's so sad to me when I see people on YouTube hate themselves more because of the comments that they got. Because I can honestly say the comments saved my life when it came to my voice. I hated my voice. I hated hearing my voice. I hated talking about my voice. If anybody said what's one thing you can change about yourself, I would have said I wish I could change my voice. It's nasally, it's gross, I can't stand it. And it's not just that my perception has changed in my voice from my point of view. I am turning my windshield wiper, or my windshield is fogging up. I have to honestly say I love my voice today, because when I hear it, I'm like, that's my voice. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's not somebody else's voice, that's my voice. And that is directly related to YouTube, period. We had done radio work before I got on YouTube. We used to do this radio show just because of the blog that we wrote, where we would, like, pick the 3 hottest things to do in Indianapolis on the weekend. So I can remember Alex and I, it was so fun. On Friday mornings, we would call into the radio show at like 7 o'clock, and we would be on the radio every Friday. And on Radio Now in Indianapolis. And if you're from Indianapolis, you guys remember Radio Now. And I hated my voice. Because when you're on the radio or, you know, something like that, or when you hear your voice, like, you get to know your voice pretty quickly. It's like, you know, like the first time you hear your voice on like an answering machine or something, you're like, ooh, do I sound like that? Because you're like, how we hear our voice is different, like, you know, but like how I hear my voice right now, I know is how my voice sounds. I've watched enough video footage of it. So like what I hear and what I hear while I'm talking right now is almost, well, it is identical to how I sound when I watch videos, except for if I watch my videos back, I usually watch them at 2x speed. And so I'm used to hearing my voice at 2x speed, which, good luck if you haven't ever done that before. But anyway, it's kind of like Alvin and the Chipmunks. But yeah, like, you know, I mean, 3 years on YouTube, it took me to get to a point where I was like, I love my voice, you know, and I wouldn't change it today. It's part of what makes me who I am. And I also think going through that, but always so afraid to even just open my mouth. I can remember being in situations where I literally, God, it's got so hot in here. Well, maybe because I'm 77. I can remember being in situations where I honestly, like, in early recovery was part of this in meetings, I honestly wouldn't talk publicly, even though I had things I wanted to say, because I was afraid as soon as I opened my mouth, what, like, everybody would look at me and be like, ooh. And, you know, and I didn't want that. And it was easier for me just to shut my mouth and sit there. And yet again, missed opportunities in my life because I allowed my insecurities to stand in the way of my overall happiness, you know? And I think that's so sad that I allowed that for so long, you know? That I allowed my weight. You know, it's like this last summer is such a good example to me. It's like, I just went and, you know, bought a couple of these, I don't know, 2XL bathing suits from Target or whatever, and they're Speedo brands, but they are trust. They are not Speedos. And they're just plain bathing suits. One's red and one's blue, and they're comfy, you know, and they fit, and they might be XL, I don't know. But I would go get my coffee and I would go sit in the pool, and I would sit half out of the pool, you know, I would sit like on the second step in my little corner right there, and people would come and, you know, like, and everybody that came up there. I mean, I had my friends at the pool this summer, you know, and they come up there, hey, Peter, how are you? And I can remember, like, you know, the guys that would walk in the morning and they would say, like, they come up to the gate and they'd be like, how's the water? And I'd be like, good. And they'd be like, has there been a lot of people? And I'd be like, no. And then they'd say they're going to go get their wife, and then they come up there, and, you know, it was fun. Not one person said anything about my weight. Not one person made me feel uncomfortable because of my weight. You know, I'm sitting there hanging out, you know, at the pool. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not like hiding down in the pool. I'm sitting out talking to people like this, okay? The water's down here, you know, on me. And I'm completely comfortable. And I didn't let it bother me. And I had a blast. You know, man, I had a blast. And it was the first time that I felt that free and liberated. Man, I wouldn't have done that before. You know, I would have sat there in a good t-shirt because I was so insecure of allowing myself to be seen publicly, you know. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm just not doing it anymore. Life is too short. And that doesn't mean that I don't work on those issues. Like, that doesn't mean that I don't work on getting healthier and getting into shape and you know, being on a weight loss journey. It doesn't mean any of that. It's just all of a sudden out of focus. I can't tell. But anyway, I mean, I can do all that, but it means at the same time, you know, allowing myself to enjoy my life in the interim. I'm like in my head, like, see, this is still something to me, like today I'm not weird about it, but that I'm still like, it's such a, when I was growing up, you know, I hit puberty kind of late, and then I have like rather hairy legs, and I was super, super insecure about it, and I hated it, and would never wear shorts, ever, 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 would swim in like pajama pants and stuff when I was with friends. I hated my legs. And then I got sober, and that was when I started running. But even before that, I like would be places and I would have shorts on, Like, I remember this one friend of mine, like, coming to my apartment, and that would have been when I was still drinking, and I remember, like, I had, like, on boxer shorts, because before I was sober, I never, like, I hardly ever wore shorts. And I can remember walking up the stairs in front of him, and he said, "You have really nice legs." And I was like, "Thank you." And I can still to this day remember him saying that. And he was like, "Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen you in shorts before." And you know what is so strange is that once I got over this whole, and I have no issues with this today, but like this was really a huge issue for me when I was younger. Once I got over that issue and I started like wearing shorts and stuff places, I mean, I live in shorts like 9 months out of the year now, jean shorts. I have like literally grown women that come up to me in gas stations and will say, "You have like the sexiest legs I've ever seen." Or like, "You have really nice legs." I have had like grown women come up to me and say that. And I'm like, "Thank you." I mean, even at like being heavy, I've had women, you know, which is really nice compliment, you know? And, cause I see my legs as being like tree trunks. Like I have heavy, like thick thighs and, you know, kind of like thick calves. And, but like, you hear that and it's like so weird that, and that's an insecurity that I didn't allow myself to live with for years and years and years on end, you know, like that was something that like after I got sober, I don't know what it was, I just started running outside and then I started hanging out with different people. I do remember it was kind of like knowing that I was hanging out with different people at some point, like with Tanya, like if I, like Tanya knows that was an insecurity of mine because we've talked a lot about it, you know, from the past and stuff, but like, if at the time before we started talking about it, she would have said like that, I did not know that that was an issue of Peter's, you know, because then I was like dating my boyfriends and I always wore like shorts with my boyfriends. And I can remember though, like with my first boyfriend going on vacation with my dad and my stepmom, and they said something about, I can remember them saying like that was like the first time they really had ever like seen me like wear shorts and being comfortable in shorts and stuff, you know, and they were really happy. They were like, you know, like, I know that was like a really big issue for you for a long time, but we allow our insecurities to hold us back, you know, we don't see the beauty in them sometimes. I remember, I mean, it's kind of bad the way that she said it, but like, did you guys ever see the comedy stand-up Queens of Comedy? With like Monique and S'more and stuff. It was so great. I love that comedy stand-up. I used to have it on DVD and I used to have the CD and all this stuff, right? But I remember the one comedian, I think she's first. I can't remember what her name is. I feel like it's Elaine something. But anyway, she's talking about like what makes you different, right? And she says, she's like, you can find whoever you want to find no matter what. And she's like, you know, if you're gap tooth, she's like, if you have like a gap tooth, she's like, find a man that doesn't like a woman who can't suck an apple through a picket fence or something like that. It's so hilarious how she says it. But it's true. It's like, no matter what your insecurity is, there's somebody out there that's going to say to you, you know what? You're beautiful, man. Like, leave it alone. Like, quit beating yourself up. You're so beautiful as you are, you know? Accept yourself. Love yourself. Stop allowing it to hold you back. The majority of us, I mean, you know, we live in a world of social media, just ridiculousness today. And where, I mean, we see these pictures and we think like, why don't I look like that? You know what I mean? Like, and it's the reality is most people don't. They just don't, you know? But I think like, and that's part of lookism, that's hard. But at the same time, it's like, it's not just about looks for me anymore. It's about health. And when I'm talking about health, I'm not just talking about weight loss for looking better. I'm talking about dealing with my insecurities so that my mental health is more positive. Because I don't want myself to be constricted and restrained based on the insecurities that I've had in my life. You know what I mean? I just don't. I want to enjoy my life fully, you know, to the best of my ability. And I want that for everybody else too. And I think that's why it's important to identify our insecurities, start talking about them, normalizing them, not being afraid to talk about them and saying, oh, you have that, I have that too. You know, wow, like, well, how does it work for you? Oh my God, it works the same way for me. Well, this is something that helps me. What helps you? Like, I don't want to feel this way anymore, you know? And really talking to one another about that stuff and being honest and, you know, and telling our truths, you know, that it's about not living in the lie, like as we say in recovery, it's about not living in the lie and living in the truth and telling our truth, you know, and being supportive of one another. And when somebody else says, well, I have this, say, oh my God, I have that too. You know, it was like on my video today, the amount of people that were like, you just described me to a T. And I was like, I'm not alone, you know, and that's not an excuse to keep being unhealthy, but it also makes me realize I'm not unique, so I can't use that as an excuse, and I'm not alone when it comes to the situation, and there are others that have gone through what I've gone through and gotten healthy, and I can look at those people as inspiration and motivation, you know what I mean? So, anyway, let's get rid of those insecurities and be more confident and work on ourselves so that we can have the best lives possible, right? And I mean, to me, it really isn't just about the body, you know, and I think sometimes, in all honesty, I look in the mirror, I see myself, I don't fit into certain clothes. My body is the easiest thing to talk about. But really, for me, it's about body, mind, and spirit. It's about all three of those things, you know, it's about how healthy is my body, how healthy is my mind, and how healthy is my spirit. And I want those three to be aligned, you know, to be the healthiest that they can possibly be, so that I can enjoy my life the best I can possibly enjoy it. You know what I mean? So anyway, all right, I'm gonna get off here now and listen to a little Sanitarium. And I hope you guys are having an amazing Wednesday. If nobody else has told you this today, I love you. Be kind to one another. Put some love, kindness, compassion, forgiveness, tolerance, hope, understanding, awe, wonder, hope, faith, and courage out there into the world. Like it says in the 4 agreements, always lead with love. Most importantly, make sure that you reach out to somebody and let them know how much they mean to you today. Like I also always say, practice random acts of kindness, but like I always say, just don't tell anyone, just do it because it's the right thing to do. And I love you guys so much. You guys are you're my people over here, and I love that. And I get to get on here every single night, and I have the opportunity and the privilege of being able to share about my life, and you guys are willing to listen, and I just want to say thank you so much. You have helped me, like I said, with my voice, but in so many ways that you would have absolutely no idea. And, you know, sometimes there are feelings and emotions that we have that there are no words for, and I'm so incredibly thankful for all of you out there. And there are some of you out there that have been along for the entire ride, and there are some of you that are just catching up now, and no matter where you came along on this ride of Peter Vlogs, I just want to say thank you, and I love you, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have an amazing day today. Have an amazing Wednesday. Happy hump day. I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Love ya! It won't turn off.